Says we're live. If you guys can hear me, please let me know. We will get this started. Looking forward to today's slate. Love Homestead. It's my favorite track. The truck race was incredible. The Xfinity race was, if you're into Larson just lapping the entire field, that was fun to watch. It was good for DFS purposes. And hopefully Cup should be fun. Last year's Cup race was one of the best of the entire season, if not the best. It was good in 2023. Unfortunately, I will not be at the track this year. I really wish I was, but should be a fun one. I got loud and clear from Andre. Should be a fun one today. I wore the Larson shirt. Now, fair warning, I'm not a Larson homer, Larson slap. I respect the talent. I'm a Blaney and Hamlin fan. But I figured this would probably be the best week of any to bust out the Larson shirt because he is the man of the hour. Unfortunately, is not going to be able to pull off the Kyle Busch sweep of trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. Got screwed. Just put it plain and simple. Yesterday in the Xfinity race, had the entire field lap besides 4 drivers, late caution, and Justin Allgaier steals the win. But that's what can happen in racing. But it should be a fun one today. I know March Madness is going on, so I'm not sure how busy the stream will be. I know the past few weeks have been incredible, but I do appreciate everyone taking some time off of watching basketball and hanging out with me for your NASCAR Sunday afternoon. Let me mute my watch. All right. So nothing has really changed too much for me as far as my thoughts on yesterday's video. I obviously do that before I run projections and everything, and I would say kind of most things have lined up with what my thought process was. Kyle Larson's top on the board for me in just about everything. Denny Hamlin's up there high. Ryan Blaney, William Byron as potential early dominators. It's all kind of balancing out of what I was assuming would be the case. I have only built a couple of single entries first. I'm going to build the other stuff after we talk through this. But I tell you right now, my single entry, it has 2 drivers that are very, very tough to trust. But I love the speed they have shown. I feel like you could probably make an inference of who those drivers might be based off of that. All right, I saw some donos before I got in here, so let me get to those first. And I do appreciate that, guys. From Dan, says, playing 3 lineups today. Please summarize best build strategy for taking down large field tournaments on DraftKings without duplicating. That's the tough thing. Without duplicating, you're going to have to get off the some of the chalkier plays, which, playing chalk, I always tell people you can play chalk. Just because someone's high owned does not mean they are a bad play. Like, that is one thing people do need to understand. Like, it's chalk for a reason. You can play chalk and still get a little bit different. Like, you can have a full lineup of chalk and then you have one guy that's low owned, and that, depending on what kind of contest you're in, that is perfectly fine. But if I am playing 3 max and I'm trying not to duplicate but also take down, I'd still want at least a couple of these drivers of Larson, Reddick, Byron, Blaney, Hamlin. Like, I want to build around those. So I would take at least 2 of those drivers. And then most people, once they do that, are probably going to dip down to Brad Keselowski, which he projects awesome today. I like him, but if you're trying to get different and not duplicate, take out Brad for a Bubba Wallace. Take him out for a Ty Gibbs. I know he's a lot further down at $7,400, but that's just a way to try to differentiate your lineup. Or instead of playing Denny Hamlin, pivot to Chase Elliott. The projections like Denny Hamlin more pretty much everywhere, but I do think Chase Elliott does have a good card today and he won't be as owned, so you can still kind of stay on the same path most people are going, but it just takes 1 or 2 pivots, because unless you're playing like a 150 max where, sometimes stupid plays, just that's what ends up getting there. But in single entries and 3 maxes, you don't always have to be the biggest brain in the entire world. Appreciate the dono, C-Gen. As always, thanks for your help this week so far. Yeah, we've had a great truck and Xfinity weekend so far. Xfinity was great. You lock Larson, then you figure out the rest. Had a lot of Corey Heim, but fortunately enough, still ended up having a really nice day. But how many DOMs and who today? So you're going to want at least 2 of these drivers. I don't really think you even need to set up groups because they're just going to populate in your lineups no matter what. It's impossible not for that to happen unless you're not optimizing by projection, I guess. But if you do want to build a DOM group today, it's going to be Larson, Reddick, Byron, Bell, Blaney, Hamlin, Elliott. You can throw Joey in there. I don't think it's likely. Then I think you kind of have to make like that second tier DOM group of Bowman, Briscoe, Wallace, Barry, I would say. Barry is just going to be a tough guy. I know he won last week, and he was good. I'm not saying he sucked. He was not the best car in the field. Kyle Larson or William Byron or Ryan Blaney deserved to win the race last week. Unfortunately, like I said, the most deserving driver does not always win. Nailed the strategy at the end for Josh Berry. He was in position, ended up working out. That 21 card definitely looks pretty good this year. I just feel like I'm going to have a hard time nailing Josh Berry this season unless we get like some poor qualifying efforts, because it's just so hard for him to project too well for where he starts, because you don't typically view him as a Dominator. We'll see what ends up happening today. I do think, I did give Dominator points spread out to guys like Bowman and Josh Berry today, a little bit to Briscoe, not too much, I believe, with Gregson starting in third. They did get some Dominator points. They're still not stacking up too great projection-wise, of course, on a medium basis. What's up, Johnny T? I missed your message last week at the beginning, so I had to make sure I got to it today. What's up? What are your favorite core plays to build around today over on FanDuel? Thanks for all you do. It's complete overlap from DraftKings and FanDuel today, but if you are playing cash games, I think everybody has the same starting three in cash today. It's going to be Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, and then Brad Keselowski. I think that's where most people are going to end up going. Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin project pretty similar for me, but when you give me the $1,000 off with Hamlin on Tyler Reddick, that's where it's easier to get to him in cash games, because it allows you a little bit more salary and flexibility. So in cash, instead of playing like say Todd Gillen or Ty Dillon, something like that, you can move it up to like Austin Dillon. It feels a little bit better. What's up, Pugsley? Says, working midnights, I might be asleep for most of the stream. Went Blaney, Hamlin, Wallace, Reddick. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't mind that. It's like the same core I'm starting with for most. What's up, Ryan? Is this a hard to pass track? What's the general DraftKings strategy and advantages and pit row stall selection here? I mean, the name of the game today is long run speed. If you do not have good long run speed, you are going to die once we get into these long green flag runs. This track is going to eat up your tires, and if you sell out for short run speed, it's going to look great on restarts and it's going to look good for a little bit, but once we start getting strung out, you're going to see some of these guys falling off. And I watch lap times for the entire field, mostly every single race that has lap times that matter. Like, I'm not doing it for a road course. I'm not doing it at Daytona or anything like that. But track like this, it's really fun to watch guys falling off really hard. And then it's really fun to watch some guys that are just ripping through the field that are mid-pack. And you can see who has really good long run speed. So targeting drivers that have that today is going to be the most important. If we head over to practice here, just you can get a pretty good glimpse of who's going to have decent speed. I have this averaged out. If you did run less laps, it's going to be a little bit of an advantage to you. But it's a lot of the guys that we saw that were fast last week. And obviously the tire wear at Vegas is not the same at Homestead, but Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Justin Haley was up there as well. Kyle Larson, Hocevar, Ty Gibbs. Now, Ty Gibbs is someone that we really need to talk about today, because the formula for Ty Gibbs this season so far has been slow in practice, slow in qualifying, and horrible during the race. Well, at least this week it's a little bit different. He's really fast in practice, one of the best cars over the course of a long run. Like, his lap times are very similar to Kyle Larson once we got deep into the run, and that's typically a pretty good thing to be. And then he was also decent in qualifying, where he's starting 13th instead of his usual 32nd place. So at some point the speed's going to be there. He is cheap this week, so I'm buying in. I totally understand the risk, but I'm going to do it. Like, a lot of people are going to go to Suarez, a lot of people are going to go to Ryan Preece. I'll take Hocevar and Gibbs. Showed speed. Well, Hocevar showed speed last week, but they both showed speed in practice yesterday. So I'll definitely be taking some stabs there, but long run speed is what you need today. Yeah, I would not play Cole Custer in cash. If you are punting in cash today, I think Todd Gillen is probably your best route. After that, I know I shamed these bottom three drivers in the video, but once I was actually looking at some optimals, if you're just jamming in these guys up top, it just throws in like Ty Dillon here and there, Yaley and Cody Ware, and it kind of reminds me of the Xfinity race where, you know, if you just nail your Dominators, if Joey Gase gets you 15 points, you're not too upset about it. What's up, Isaiah? Kyle Larson, Reddick, Hamlin, and Todd Gillen, Austin Dillon, Ricky. Sit down, Shooter. What are your thoughts? Also, is Bubba optimal on FanDuel? Thank you, Chris. I don't think that's too bad. It's obviously very top heavy. Gillen, I mean, it could be worse. I almost feel like maybe dropping one of those guys down to a punt, and maybe you can get more mid-range on the third one instead of having like 3 type of bumps in there. But, you know, Stenhouse and Austin Dillon do have some slight top 20 potential, so I'm not going to shame that too bad, because I do really like the top 3 drivers. What's up, Daniel? Top 6 drivers to win the race. I currently have it as, I'm going to put up on another sheet here. Kyle Larson, number 1. William Byron, 2. Ryan Blaney 3, Hamlin number 4, Reddick number 5, and then Christopher Bell number 6. A little bit worried about Christopher Bell's long run speed. Looks like he has a bit more of a short run car, but I don't think he's going to be trash during the race. Chase Elliott was next, by the way. I think Chase Elliott's a pretty good tournament play overall. I'm considering betting him at, I believe he's 2,800 on DraftKings. It's pretty intriguing, honestly, because earlier in the week I liked him. I think I had him fair around 14 or 15, maybe 13. Didn't qualify too well, but I think his long run speed looked pretty good. What's up, Clint? Happy race day. What do you think about Dinger today? Yeah, Dinger's interesting. I know a lot of people are going to be really scared about these consecutive lap averages. As you can see here, 25th, 23rd, 34th, 34th. But he didn't really fall off too bad. If you're looking at his lap averages, he's still pretty high once you average out all of his laps. So I really don't think there's too much to be concerned about AJ Allmendinger speed-wise. I wouldn't fall into the trap of some of these consecutive lap averages. But the issue is where he's starting in 10th. If he was starting 16th today, or like 18th, something like that, I think he'd be a tremendous tournament play because he has just been so good here at Homestead. If you're looking at his numbers, it's just hard to explain why he's been good here, but averaging nearly 60 DraftKings points per race, an average finish of 5.3, and it's not like he's getting lucky. He's got a good average rank position of 11.3 as well. Been in the top 10 each and every single time. So I'll tell you right now, he is not going to project well at that price point in that starting position, but just know there is potential for him. Like if he finishes 8th today and say Ryan Preece place differential doesn't get there, Suarez place differential doesn't get there, and Ty Gibbs and Hosfar hover around 15th. I mean, Allmendinger could certainly be a sleeper. It reminds me of last week, but he was starting a little bit further back, so it felt a little bit more comfortable, but the starting position is just really tough. But the numbers do check out. Hello, Mom. Gonna be hanging out with your sweetie. Oh yeah, that's right. She's at her house. Good luck, NASCAR fam. Let's get at Logano. I gotta be honest, Mom. I'm not too big on Logano today, so maybe we'll wait for that next. I forget where we're at next week. Martinsville. Oh well, yeah. It can be a Joey week next week at Martinsville. I'll hop on the train then. What's up, Lucas? Hey, Chris. What are your favorite core plays on DraftKings today? Thanks for all you do. I mean, I know it's chalk. I'm just gonna slam Kyle Larson. He's a good play. I'm gonna play him. I will also have a lot of Keselowski. I mean, obviously it's chalk. I went over that. I mean, you're just going to have a lot of the chalk today. But in tournaments up top, as the pivots off of Larson, Reddick, Hamlin chalk, I really do like siding with William Byron, Ryan Blaney. At least one of those guys maybe paired with one of those hybrid plays. Because Blaney and Byron probably have the best cars that are starting inside the top 10. And if they can work their way to the front after, say, Alex Bowman or whoever grabs the lead early on falls off a bit, I definitely think they can take advantage of that. And they've both been really good here at Homestead. And then off the chalk, mid-range plays by Wallace, Ty Gibbs, Hocevar. Will certainly be some ones I'll also get to. What's up, Daily? Hamlin or Blaney on FanDuel? I would take Hamlin there just because of the place differential upside. I think it's more likely Blaney leads laps, but at the end of the day, finish position potential I think is very similar. And the downer points don't really stack up too much on FanDuel, so I'll take Denny there. And then Jones or Gilland. I'd rather do neither on FanDuel personally, but I'll take Eric Jones. But not huge on either on FanDuel because I typically try to get drivers that can all finish inside the top 10. I know that's not always going to be the case, but at least have top 10 potential. My current single entry on FanDuel does have that, but there is certainly risk with some of these drivers. But yeah, been in since COVID. That's awesome. Thank you for being here all the way since back then. That's really cool. 5 years now, which is crazy to think about. What's up, Hockey Freak? Let's make it rain green. Let's do it. What's up, Spreader? Let me scroll down a little bit. I'll go back to the top. What's up, Brian? Thanks for, yeah, no problem at all. Bubba or Bell? Oh, I mean, if price doesn't matter, I'll take Christopher Bell there. For sure. But definitely a big price discrepancy. So it'd probably be better of a 2v2 question. Thoughts on Suarez and Preece? I'm fine with both as far as like cash games, just because they offer that place differential. But I really do like the pivots of Gibbs, Hocevar in that range. But they're fine for the floor. I mean, they have good floor projections and they don't look bad. What's up, Phil? Doing well. Hopefully you are too. Do you like Barry or Gregson better? I believe I have Barry projected better currently. I'm not getting to a ton of either. though. And just it's the starting position's tough. I do think there's a chance they can lead some laps early on, but I'm not sure it'll be enough. Dropping dimes. CP, who's your favorite cash play? 7,400 under on DraftKings. Yeah, no problem at all. Favorite cash play, 7,400 and below. I would say Ryan Preece would probably top the list there. Also like Austin Dillon as a cheaper option. I could see them being pretty solid for cash. The rest is just kind of gross, especially for cash games. That's probably where I would side. Let's see. Hocevar and Gregson or Wallace and Zane Smith. Says chance. Oh, man. I guess I would go the Wallace and Zane Smith route. Doesn't feel that great to say, though. I don't really like either combination too well. What's up, Zan? Does Ty have a chance to win this week? I don't know about win, but I do think his car looks pretty good. I like the speed we saw over the course of a long run. Just not, I don't know if he's going to have race winning speed, though. But I do think he can crack the top 10, maybe be a borderline top 5 car. We will see. I don't know what happened this week. We finally got some speed. Maybe Ty Gibbs threatened to put Papa Joe in a home if he didn't get some speed this week. I don't know. But he looks good. Looks good. So I'll bite. I'm sure I'll get bitten by it, but we'll see what happens. Got Dillon from Spreader. As always, I do appreciate that. It says, like the hat. I don't know about the shirt. Blaine just needs to finish a race. Well, you're not going to like the hat because this is actually a Florida Gators hat spread. So I know you're not a fan of Larson. I know you're not a fan of Florida. So I'm just trying to block my face out, I guess. But I do appreciate the dono. And yeah, Blaine needs to finish a race. I mean, he had all the speed in the world last week. Last week's race was really annoying. Stage 1, I was poor. Stage 2, I was in first in every single contest possible because my 6 highest one drivers were in the top 6. And then Blaney dies, stage 3. Bubba Wallace dies, stage 3. And then Larson and Byron get stuck in traffic. I was like, well, this couldn't have gone worse after stage 2. So that sucked. We had the fast cars, just sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. But you can't look at the result and be like, well, I should have done. No, if you were winning, I would say after stage 2, during stage 2, you had the right guys. It's just stupid stuff happens. There's nothing you can do about it. I think your process is fine. And I do want to point out, I have a Florida Gators hat, but I mean, I just live in Florida, so I got it so I can fit in. And I like the colors. That's the only reason. I am an Ohio State fan. I'm from Ohio, so you can't shame me on Florida, but I do it to fit in here. Who's your outright to win on FanDuel? I haven't looked at the FanDuel odds since everything I bet was earlier in the week. I don't really have too much I really want to bet after that. I mean, most of these lines are not available anymore, and I have sprinkles, but I have half a unit on Byron. I got it earlier in the week on FanDuel at plus 850 to win. Feel good about that. Have Bubba Wallace at plus 4,800, 0.1 unit. Bowen plus 3,000, 0.1 unit. And then I have Hamlin plus 1,300 at 0.3. I think those were all on FanDuel. FanDuel, I've noticed, has been the softest book pre-practice and qualifying this year lately. Hard Rock has also been good. DraftKings typically is horrible. Caesars is by far the worst, but FanDuel has been very soft. Andy says C-Pen is a closet Michigan fan. I don't think so, Andy. I don't think so. But I know they won yesterday, so I'll give you your props. Now, I did add a new thing to the sheet. I called it I don't know if you have Patreon. It's called the Kelly dashboard for betting. So you can put like your own, here, I'll just put in a random number. 1 second, I'll pull it up. So you can just put like any bankroll in here and it'll switch. So for example, it pulls in the best odds for the book, has my projections, and it just pretty much tells you what to bet. So like maybe your bankroll is $100. You could do a quarter Kelly, you could do a full Kelly, but it just looks through the entire thing. It says, well, based off of this, we should put 0.56 units on William Byron, and obviously depending on your unit, if you have $100, that would be 56 cents. But you can change it. Maybe your bankroll is $10,000. Just everything, you can change it to however you want it. But something I've been toying with. I just threw it on there because I thought it was interesting, but just something I'm toying with. It's on the back end. But it just like, instead of busting a calculator, like how much should I bet on this? Tell you the unit, dollar size, dollar amount, I mean. So I'm just playing around. Let's see. What's up, Tyler? Says, where do you watch and keep up with lap times? So I have a program I found it on GitHub you can download, and it has, I don't want to give it out because I'm not sure if it's supposed to be out there, but if you do some searching, you can find it, but I don't want to give it away, I guess. But you can watch lap times, consecutive lap averages, and then I have a Python scraper that pulls the lap times from practice in, and then it goes into the sheet. But if you do enough searching, you can find stuff. Zachary says, join Patreon. Appreciate you, sir. Oh, thank you very much, Zachary. Yeah, if you guys ever want to check out all the extra content over there, you can get a completely free week, test drive all the tools for today, and then I guess probably next week as well, because it would follow over into Sunday. But you can get a free week trial, all the projections, optimizers, sim tool, sum up to 5,000 lineups at once. And yeah, and I do trucks and Xfinity now. I don't do the videos for it, but we do content for that every single weekend whenever we have extra races. So when I come in, check it out. It's always a good time. Discord's fun, especially during the race. I do appreciate all the people that have signed up. It's been quite a bit of people, so it's awesome. Kelsey says, Hendrik Motorsports, baby. Oh, no. I think I see you every week touting Hendrik Motorsports. But they've been fast this year. They have fast cars once again, so I can definitely see that being the case. Thoughts on Elliott, says Coach? Yeah, I like Chase Elliott quite a bit today. He's actually in my main FanDuel lineup. Just starting at 18th, I thought the lap averages looked fine. He was good at Homestead last year. He's been typically good at these higher tire wear tracks, so I think Chase Elliott's a fine play in tournaments. He does not project as well as Denny Hamlin, but he's a direct pivot, and who's to say you can't play both in the same lineup? So I'm definitely in on Chase Elliott today. I like every Hendrik car. No, I'm not going to have much Alex Bowman at all, just because he's on the pole, and I just believe in other cars better. If you are playing Bowman, I would recommend doing it on DraftKings because you have the chance to get those Dominator points. And if he leads most of stage 1, you can work with that. If he's a borderline top 10 car, wasn't too impressed with practice. So I do worry once he gets in dirty air how much he'll fade back. But in general, I mean, all the Hendrik cars do look solid. I mean, of course, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Chase Elliott, I am definitely in on. Is Zane Smith fine for a last main in a lineup? Yeah, I'd plug your nose because it's not going to feel too good. Not going to smell too good when you do it, but I don't hate it because of the lap times we saw, but there is a definite lower floor with Zane Smith on there. Definite lower floor. Todd Gillen, he projects better for me because we at least have a bit of a cushion starting in 29th, but it's pretty gross down there. Pretty gross. What's up, Rick? Larson on a mission today? Yeah, I'm sure he is mad from yesterday. He got screwed by Sam Meyer at the end on the restart, and then obviously Tanner Gray had something went down. Ended up taking a spin to bring out the yellow. But yeah, appreciate you being here. And Florida comment with the hat from bracket, yeah. Wallace or Bubba on draft? I'm not sure how to answer that. Wallace or Bubba? I believe they're the same person. Should the projected optimal be played in a single entry? I mean, it can be sometimes. Like last week, it was extremely duplicated. Like last week's optimal was Larson, Byron, Blaney, Chastain, Haley, and Herbst. And I mean, it did very well, even with Ryan Blaney last weekend, but you're holding hands with so many people. This week, I really don't think there's an obvious chalk lineup. Let me pull it up again. Run a quick couple lineups here and see what the top projected was again. Yeah, I mean, I do like that lineup a lot. I do think it's... So Ty Gibbs does sneak his way into my optimal lineup currently, which sounds terrifying. I do think it's fine for single entry if you want to play that. It's not going to be as duplicated as last week, so if you're worried about that. I do think it's solid, though. I don't always, but if I do like it, I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm playing my FanDuel optimal in the single entry. in single entries currently. Although I play in multiple, and then I usually switch up a couple things, 'cause I don't want on the same lineup in every contest. But it has it stays within the core. Is Haley I'm sorry, 1 second. Oh, getting any Zane Smith today? Says Sean. I don't really see myself getting to too much. He's just not really showing up too well for me. I thought maybe the practice feeds would bring him up better in the video, but we talked about that, but he's just not really popping up too much at that starting position. So I want to. I wish he was starting in the 20s, but he's just not really showing up for me. I feel like I was answering a question, then it disappeared, so I don't know where it went. I thought someone asked me about Justin Haley. I don't know where it went. Oh, Sean says, how much Haley are you getting to? He's another guy that I thought was going to project a little bit better, but ended up not looking too great. It could be one of those things where I might just have to disagree with the projections a little bit, because he did show a good amount of speed in practice. I mean, he was almost at the very top of the board if you're looking at the lap averages. So I think there's some top 15 potential. He's just not projecting that great. So he's one of those guys, maybe bump up a projection manually, because not everything's going to be perfect. So you bump it up a few points. I wouldn't mind getting to some Justin Haley. It's mainly just a starting position type of thing. How do I feel about Austin Dillon? I actually do like Austin Dillon today. He's starting in 30th. Yeah, Austin Dillon's in 30th. He's only $6,300. If you're looking at his lap times in practice, it's close to around 20th as far as the lap averages are concerned. But he actually has some pretty decent history here at Homestead. 2 top 10s in the past 3 races here. Has a top 5 mixed in. Average finish of 13th, running position of 14.6. I mean, at his price point and starting position, he's currently showing up in the DraftKings optimal, and he projects pretty well for that price point. Actually looking like the best punt option currently. And this place does eat up tires, and Austin Dillon doesn't have the worst track record at some of these tire wear tracks. I know at Richmond, which Richmond is not Homestead, it's much different, but it's still a track that eats up tires, and he has performed pretty well there in the past. Obviously, I prefer when he's not torpedoing Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin out of the way, but does have some decent runs when he has to manage his tires. Jake says 9 ran well here last time. Him, Denny, Blaney got to be a good stack impossible. Yeah, I have a lot of those 3. I mean, like my highest owned drivers today are going to be Larson, Hamlin, and then most likely Reddick up top. But a lot of those guys are going to be pretty close. And I do think Chase Elliott, maybe more so on FanDuel, I'm getting there a lot, just because I don't really think Elliott's going to be too much of a dominator threat. But I do like Elliott today for sure. Oh, Shane says, is Haley a risk? Okay, I thought I saw it. So hopefully I answered that question. Yeah, FanDuel has been super soft this year, at least upon opening. I mean, you'll have Hamlin open up at like 900 on Caesar, then FanDuel will throw him out at 1400, and it's like, well, good thing I waited. CP, didn't know you were from Ohio. I live in Cleveland. Oh, yeah, I am from Ohio, Northeast Ohio, so pretty close. I probably shouldn't give out exactly where, but somewhere in Northeast Ohio is where I'm from. And lived for 21, 22 years. Sounds about right. XCR says Blaney's hungry for a W. He's due. I mean, he's been fast. He's been very fast. He just has had a lot of bad luck. But the car's been fast. He's been great here at Homestead. I don't see any reason not to think he won't be fast once again. Last year, I want to say he started in the 20s, maybe 20th. Ripped through the field and basically been the only guy that has had something for Kyle Larson the past couple of years here. Well, maybe besides that barrel that Larson rammed into, but appreciate that, MC. Hopefully it's good to you. Appreciate you, Keith. Byron Elliott or Larson and Ross for DraftKings GPP. I'll go with Byron and Elliott. I mean, I absolutely love Larson, but Ross kind of scares me. I mean, those practice times are horrible. I expected better. He might be able to move up a bit, but phew, did not look good in any aspect. If you look at his lap averages, consecutive lap averages, 25th, 27th, 27th, 30th. And then if we dig a little deeper, it's still just not good at all. I mean, he's all the way down here in the dumps. If you're looking at his total lap time, it's just, I don't think he's going to be that bad during the race, but at his price point, I'd like to get a little bit more speed, you know? So it's pretty tough. How much money would I leave on the table for this slate? Not much. I definitely want my fair share of these big dogs up top, so I'd pretty much be using most of my salary when I can. It's not one of those weeks where you want to like start with Kyle Busch and then only go down. You need some of these big dogs. One of these guys will win the race. Two or three of these guys are going to dominate, and you'll need those in your lineups. Zachary says, I think chasing the man this week simply due to the way his tires didn't fall off. Yeah, and that's the important thing. If you can find guys in practice that did not have too much fall off, that is huge if we get these long green flag runs. Now, obviously, if we get a bunch of restarts and just chaos, which I am not expecting today, but you never know with NASCAR. You never know. But if we get those long green flag runs, you're going to see the field change after a restart. Like, you're going to see these guys with short run speed, they're going to take off. But then these guys with long run speed, they're slowly, methodically going to rip their way towards the front of the field. And it's usually pretty fun to watch. If you like data, I highly recommend watching lap times during the race. It's pretty fun. It's almost more fun than watching the cars on TV. Johnny T says, what's the lowest you would go on FanDuel, Austin Dillon, or lower in general, or just for cash games? I know Johnny always plays cash games, so I'm assuming it's that. I would probably say lowest I would go for FanDuel cash is probably Ty Gibbs. I mean, like, I like Austin Dillon on DraftKings, but he's pushing it on FanDuel because he could sneak inside the top 20. If he does that, it does make him playable. But I do worry if he just finishes 21st, it's not going to be enough on FanDuel. On DraftKings, that's fine. His price point, scoring is definitely a bit different over there in roster construction, but I'm probably not going below Gibbs, maybe Priest on FanDuel for cash games. McDowell or Stenhouse? It's a great question. I'm pretty sure projections are pretty close. I have it as Michael McDowell barely by a few points. Spire cars should have some decent speed. Fiduni says, AJ top 10 plus 250 via bet 365. Any value there? Thank you, CP. Let me check for you. I have it fair. I have him fair at plus 316 for a top 10. If you wanted to take it, though, I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world based off of track history, just because of how good he's been. And the qualifying position's obviously good, but I do have him not quite cracking 250. My favorite pivot off of Keselowski. I mean, I'm going to cheat and just say Bubba Wallace or Ty Gibbs. Although I guess Bubba's a little bit closer in price, so I would say Bubba Wallace. The speed's there. The speed was there last week. He even got up front for a little bit. Just ends up getting caught up in that Blaney wreck. No fault of his own. Just bad, wrong place, wrong time, which has been the story of Bubba Wallace, it seems like. I'm sure Bubba's going to be fast. He's going to be running P4 all day. He'll have 15 fast laps, and it's going to be like, yes, we're geniuses, and then something will break, and he'll finish 28th. And then we look like idiots again. What's up, Dustin? Bell, Busher, Byron. Good luck. We appreciate your hard work, CP. Well, I appreciate you being here, so thank you very much. It's been the killer bees this season. I believe the only drivers that have won have had a B last name. We had Byron once, Bell 3 times, Barry once, which I believe that's all the races, right? 4. So the trends could continue here with a Byron or Bell, or Byron or Blaney win. I think those are 2 guys that could potentially really win this race. I'm trying to put all these studs in. Who's your favorite 4,000 try? Yeah, where's Catherine Leggett, or Legay, however you say her name, when you need her? She'd have been great to use this week. Unfortunately, we only have JJ Yaley down there, and he's very slow. The floor is obviously there. Pull up the heat map. Like, the worst he can do is right around... I mean, he should get you positive points at the very least, so you have that to work with. But... no, this is not an option tire race, and thank goodness it's not. What's up, Tizzle? Trying on NASCAR and DraftKings. What's the most exposure you would have on one driver in a 20 max? Ooh, I would say this week, if you really want to be overweight on the best potential drivers, I would say like Kyle Larson, probably around 70, 80 if you're really trying to get aggressive. You know, this year I've noticed like in trucks and Xfinity, I feel a little bit more comfortable going way overweight on the field of the best overall plays. Like on Friday, I lock button Corey Heim. I was like, you know what? He's probably going to have the cheat truck. Him and Kyle Larson, so I just played 100% of him. And then yesterday I played 95% Larson. But once we get the Cup, I mean, the cars are just so even. It's a little bit scary to do that. So I definitely tone it down a bit in Cup. But trucks and Xfinity, I just close to locking drivers, and I'm fine with it. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way. Why is SVG not a good play? When we're at tracks that only turn left, he just tends to not be as strong. If we turn right, that's when we start to get some interest. But man, he obviously struggled last weekend. If you're looking at practice times, just not very good. 35th, 32nd. Looking at his overall lap times, I mean, it's basically right where he's starting. If SVG gets there, I think it's because we have multiple DNFs. I don't know strategy-wise, but somehow if he can send the lead lap a couple of times. But speed-wise, he's gonna be slow. Yeah, no problem at all, Tizzle. Favorite 7K drivers? Yes, I have only built one single entry. I am building after the show, but I am planning on having a lot of Daniel Suarez, more so in DraftKings, but I really like Hocevar and Ty Gibbs a lot. So the cash he plays in that range are Daniel Suarez and Ryan Preece, but the tournament plays to get leverage on Hocevar and Ty Gibbs. Do I like stacking Larson with Reddick? Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're going to miss out on the early Dominator points, but that's fine because, you know, the extra place differential points make up for that. So you're not really missing too much out. But yeah, if you can play Larson and Reddick together, I mean, these are the best guys that ride in the rim around the track. And they'll definitely, I think once we look at some long run speed, they're definitely going to start showing up quite a bit and will certainly be factors potentially at the end of stage 1, but stage 2, stage 3, they will be there outside of any stupid issues. Is my contest single entry? I mean, I do play a lot of single entries, but I play pretty much everything. 3 max, 20 max, 150 max. Alex says, is Ty Dillon viable in a DraftKings tourney? Gets everyone I want in? Yeah. So, like I said, I kind of shamed them in the video, but once I was actually looking at some roster construction, running some optimals, they're somewhat viable just because they allow you to fit in whatever you want. And if Ty Dillon gets 12 points today, but you absolutely nail your Dominators, Larson gets 100 points, say Blaney gets 80, and then you nail someone else that gets 70, I mean, that's fine. That is fine. So I don't hate that right now. Next week at Martinsville, we're definitely going to have to do something similar because we're going to have to jam in all these Dominators to get all, what is it, 400 laps these days, 500? Either way, there's going to be a lot of Dominator points next week. Do I trust any of the RFK cars today? Yeah, I do like Brad Keselowski. Ryan Preece is fine just because of the floor, but I'm not over the moon about him. And then Chris Buescher, he's kind of the odd man out. I'm not really getting to Chris Buescher today. Mainly just due to the starting position. Yeah, Keselowski is a good PD play, though. He'll be very chalky today, but based off of practice, it looks like he's got a borderline top 15 car, and his price point and the starting position does make that pretty viable. He's also a veteran. He knows how to save his tires, so I think it can work out. Ryan, I would go with Hamlin and Austin Dillon over Reddick and Ty Dillon personally. I do think Austin Dillon has quite a bit more upside than Ty, and then Hamlin and Reddick's pretty much a wash in my opinion. Favorite GPP play for a single entry? I mean, it sounds gross, but either Bubba Wallace or Ty Gibbs. Like, if anybody asks me about a tournament play today, that's kind of my go-to. That's what I'm going to be overweight on. And it's so terrible because, I mean, they're like the two least trustworthy drivers in the entire field, it seems like. But that's why it's a tournament. You expect the worst, but then you're happy when you get that outcome of, hey, they finally hit their ceiling. What do I think about Ryan Blaney today? Will he lead laps? Yeah, I would be pretty surprised if Ryan Blaney doesn't lead any laps today. He should have a fast car. He's got good track position. He's been super good at Homestead in the next gen era. So yeah, I'm in on Ryan Blaney for sure. He'll lead laps at some point. I'm assuming him and William Byron will be early threats. I definitely think out of the top 6 cars, they have the best 2 of them. Hunter. Clint says I'm almost double the field on Elliott in the mini max. Yeah, I don't hate that approach. It's just a good way to get different. I would assume if you're doing that, you're probably not as high on Denny Hamlin. Be my main assumption. Best chalk and leverage plays for DraftKings large GPP contest. The chalk I am most comfortable eating today is pretty much Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin. I do like that chalk a ton. Tyler Reddick as well. And then the pivots, you probably know where I'm going with the pivots these days. By this point, I should say, like Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Gibbs, Wallace, like those are the pivots and tournaments that I would get to. And Carson Hocevar and Chase Elliott. Byron and Elliott, or I already answered that one. I think I did. What's up, Daniels? Happy race day, Chris. Second of the day, actually. Already shipped the $4, $1.25, and F1. Awesome. Yeah, I know F1 was like at 3 a.m. in China. I don't know how anyone could say it for that to watch an F1 parade, but I'm glad you did awesome. That's great. Track history definitely tells a story today, in my opinion. No question, just ready to race. Yeah, like a lot of these tracks in the next gen era so far, it's like, yeah, he has good track history, but what did he do on Saturday? But Homestead's one of those tracks where it's a driver's track, and the guys that are typically good here are usually always going to be good here. And a lot of the guys that do have good track history here are fast in practice, so it kind of just makes it a bit easier. Hocevar and Gregson or Wallace and Smith? Oh, gosh. Oh, did I already answer that one? I feel like I did. And I think I had the same reaction. Oh, sorry. I had okay. William Byron, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Austin Dillon. I'm assuming Ty Dillon and Eric Jones. All right, so we have Byron, Reddick, and Kyle Larson. Yeah, I think it works. Like that's one of the cases where Ty Dillon can work out. I mean, if you can nail those 3 dominators and they all work out, it's not really going to matter too much what Ty Dillon does anyway. Yeah, Larson plus 250 to win is insane. I mean, I have him projected as the winner today, but not nearly enough is what plus 250 would indicate the percent probability is. And like yesterday for the Xfinity race, Larson was minus 135, and should he have won? Yes, by a lot. But things happen in racing where that has to be factored in. Denny Hamlin or Chase Elliott? I mean, pricing isn't an issue. Well, I guess pricing would be an issue. It's only $200 difference. But it would be Denny Hamlin either way, just projection-wise. Denny had a really good long run car too. And he's just good at Homestead. Good at tire conservation. Hot take is Larson Rex. I mean, he does do that kind of often here, it seems like, doesn't he? He wrecked in the truck race and still won at the end, but it wouldn't be as easy to do that in Cup, of course. But he's had his fair share of incidents here at Homestead, but he's always up front dominating. It's just a matter of if he can finish. What do I think about stacking the back with the good drivers? How far back do you mean by stacking the back? Like, I definitely need like a Larson or a Reddick or those kind of guys if you mean in the back. But I wouldn't strictly just play like Chastain, Busch, Keselowski, Suarez, Priest kind of lineup. I definitely need somebody that can get up front at some point. What's up, Marvin? Max exposure for Larson 150 max, currently just over 60%. I mean, if you really like him today, I don't mind bumping that up just to get more leverage on it. Because I'm assuming Larson probably comes in around mid-40s. Maybe recency bias puts him up at 50, depending on how much he gets steam. But I do think he'll probably be around at least 45% owned today. 45, 47%. So, I mean, if you really like Larson today, you're going to have to go pretty high if you want to get some leverage on it. So see, Mitch says, on 3 max builds, is our main focus Larson and Reddick? I mean, Reddick's right up there with them. I would probably put Reddick in the same pool as like a Denny Hamlin type You can save some money with him, but they're very close. But Larson would be the starting point. What's up, Loyal? Says hit the like button, D-Gens, me included. Yeah, I think the under actually hit today. Raider says my body is ready to once again ride the Bubba Wallace pain train. It's full of pain. We'll get rewarded one day. One day. It might not be the day. It might not be next week, but one day it'll be good. He's just, especially on FanDuel, he's free on FanDuel. So is Ty Gibbs. They're practically begging me to play them. And I'm accepting their offer. Hopefully they'll reward me. Favorite top 10 bet today? I believe the only thing Kelly likes currently is Byron top 10 and then Bubba Wallace top 10 at 380 for Bubba. And then plus 110 for, or I'm sorry, I'm looking at top 5. That's not correct. Sorry. I thought the number was off. Yeah, plus 150 for Ty Gibbs shows value, and then minus 300 for William Byron also shows value. Problem is you got to lay like 6 units on that, which doesn't really feel too comfortable. But I do have him finishing top 10 roughly 78% of the time, which does show value at minus 300. And then if you can find the Ty Gibbs at plus 150, that looks pretty good too. I forget which books those were on though. But everything else looks horrible in the top 10 market, as it typically does. Does Austin Dillon or Hendrik? Austin Dillon, he has really good track history here. He has a couple of top 10s in the past few races here. Austin Hendrik, on the other hand, he's been roughly like a 20th place car in 3 races, where he typically runs. Optimal cash lineup. I mean, the starting point is going to be Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Brad Keselowski in cash today. What's up, Jordan? Says, hey, Chris, where would you rank Busch in the long run compared to the others, and could he get a top 10? I don't believe I was super impressed with Kyle Busch here. I'm going to pull up his practice results. I just don't really think I'm going to play him. So overall lap averages were 22nd. If you take his best 10 raw laps, he's still pretty low here. He does not look that great. He just kind of looks pretty mid. Looks like he'll probably run similar to where he starts. Not seeing a ton of interest there. Ty Gibbs top 10 plus 150 on DK. Oh, good. He didn't move. Hopefully that can work out for you. Stampede, I have him finishing top 10. I have him projected for a 12.89, finishing top 10, 43.4% of the time. So I do think that's a pretty decent bet at that number. And I wish I currently had DraftKings available to me. If Hard Rock had a 150, I would hit it. So I'm jealous I don't have it, but I do think it's a decent bet. Oh, I got you. Okay. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell, like, because we had 2 super speedways to start the season, so like the place differential for that compared to a normal track of like 20th and 14th compared to the straight 30s, it's just a little bit different there. Priest's track history. Well, we got to keep in mind though, Priest is in the 60 car now for RFK, so it's a little bit different. But if we're pulling up his track history here, we have a 2 race sample size. Been in the top 15 both times. 11.5 average finish, 17th running position. I mean, it's not too bad for restarting in the price tag. If playing 3 lines, who should I lock into the 3? If I was forced to lock anybody in, it would be Kyle Larson. He has the best car. He's the favorite to win. He's just really good here. That would be the one I would feel the most comfortable with having. What's up, Sean? Byron, Blaney, Hamlin, Keselowski, and Gibbs on FanDuel. I mean, it's pretty, well, sorry, I was thinking of something else. But I do like that. Because most people on FanDuel, if you're trying to get different, most people are going to go the Hamlin route, they're going to go the Larson route, or one of the PD guys. So I do like the Byron and Blaney pivots over there, because they also have race winning upside. Then Keselowski and Gibbs, yeah, I think that looks fine. think the main on FanDuel that I'm currently toying with, it's the optimal on there. It's Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Bud Wallace, Ty Gibbs. I like it. All 5 of those guys have top 10 potential. They all showed speed in practice. Not much of a floor for a few of those guys, but I'll hope for the best, I guess. Nothing too much, Justin. Just me saying Kyle Larson a bunch of times, I think. Austin Dillon or Ty Dillon? Sorry if somebody asked already. I'll take Austin Dillon for sure. Bobby says thoughts on Bubba Wallace, top 10 at plus 110, or Elliott top 10 at even? Let's see. So I got Bubba Wallace fair, top 10 at plus 112. Would you say you found him at plus 110? I mean, it's pretty much dead even. Not much of an edge there, in my opinion. It's close enough to where if you want to bet it, I wouldn't fault you for it. If you can get Chase Elliott even, I have him minus 104 fair. So those are both not bad. They're basically right at where I think they should be. So like, if you want to bet it, go ahead. I don't really think there's a huge edge, but I think the number's fair. Nothing like too standoutish though. Hamlin and Priest or Reddick and Haley. Ooh, I think I'll go Hamlin and Priest there. Eric Jones and Ty Dillon or Yaley and Austin Dillon, doing the overanalyzing thing again. I think we all do that. That's why I really like building like at the very end, which I know it's what we're doing right now at 2 p.m. So, and we're doing it right. But that's why I like building after the live stream, because I'm like, well, I don't have time to pivot off what my original thoughts were, because these are all my original thoughts. So, yeah, try not to overanalyze yourself too much. You'll end up driving yourself crazy. But I think I would go with, I guess I'd go Eric Jones and Ty Dillon. I mean, at least Ty Dillon might have a little bit more upside than JJ Yaley. In a perfect world, I'd like to get the 2 Dillons together instead. Reddick, Bell, Hamlin, Priest, Dinger on FanDuel. That can work. I mean, Dinger is such an intriguing play today, just based off of track history alone. And I am not really that concerned about the lap averages. I thought overall his total lap time, the fall off wasn't too bad. King Clock says, if I ever win the 100K, I'm done. Won't ever play again. I can't blame you for that. I mean, personally, if I won 100K or a million, I'd still play the exact same way I do. I wouldn't up my size. I wouldn't go down. I would just continue playing because I think a lot of people get into the trap of where they win a bunch. They win a contest and then they just start upping all their units. They up their contest size and then you can bleed that out really quick. So I would just pretty much stay with what I feel comfortable with. Because let's be honest, if you feel something, like, yeah, it's good to be happy if you win. But if you are feeling like really down and really like bad about a weekend, you're betting too much. You got to definitely tone that down, because as long as you believe in your process and your strategy, I mean, you're going to take hits throughout the season. And if you lose, you just got to be like, well, it's all right. We planned for this. And you just got to stay steady. Worst thing you can do is definitely put in more than you need to be doing. What's up, you rely? How will tire wear today? Oh, it's going to be a lot of tire wear today. They're going to see a lot of fall off. And that makes it fun. We need tire fall off. I love tire fall off tracks. It's sad why we lost Chicagoland. We had some tire wear there. And we lost Auto Club, another tire wear track. We don't have too many. And they stole Atlanta from us. So, I mean, they're basically taking them all. So Homestead's one of the few we got left. BVB says, yeah, I won it. I'm still playing. Said I was. Yeah. Yeah, it's just fun, you know? And at least once you win that much, I mean, you have a really nice cushion to work with, too. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you're going to have bad weeks in DFS. And if you start winning and then you just start upping it all, I mean, there's a perfect math formula for this where it's a nice sliding bell curve and you're just going to end up in the suicidal part at the end. So you really have to manage it. A lot of people do not do that, though. And then they get mad and they'll yell at you on Twitter or something. Biggest mover? I mean, Keselowski's probably the best choice for the biggest PD guy, or Denny Hamlin. I don't know what the exact biggest mover is for me. I don't calculate the highest place differential guy, but it's probably one of those two. If I had to guess, or Tyler Reddick. What's up, Jazzy Faye Plays? It's a fun name. Stop in more so I can say that. Don't mean to spam, but Blaney Stenhouse or Byron Austin Dillon DraftKings GPP, please and thanks, brother. I'm gonna side with the Byron Austin Dillon. It's mainly just because I like Austin Dillon a little bit more than Stenhouse, and I think Byron and Blaney are pretty much a wash. So I'll side with the second one there. Very close though. Yeah, it's the perfect way to go about it, Zachary, for sure. You need to be having fun while you do it. Obviously, you need to solve a nice process so you can try to scrape away a profit at the end and hopefully get some big hits and mitigate your losses throughout the season. But for sure. Totally agree with that. And good job on the prize last year as well. Spread says, notice no one mentioning Suarez as the biggest mover. I do think I haven't projected for almost 40 points today, but I do think Keselowski probably can pick up more PDA by the end of the day, or just Hamlin and Reddick because they have legit top 3 potential. Jaron says Keselowski and Gibbs or Bubba Wallace and Priest for DraftKings GP. Man, that's a great question. I love how they're both set up because you have chalky Keselowski with pivot Gibbs, and then you have chalkier Ryan Priest with the pivot of Bubba Wallace. So that is very tough. I believe Keselowski and Gibbs projects better overall though, but I think that's an excellent question because I think both are really solid. Stenhouse or Jones? I have Jones just slightly higher. I'm trying, Hunter. I just looked at the clock. We have 50 minutes. We have 50 minutes. I'll try to get out of here soon. How do I like Bowman today? I have Bowman projected for under 40 points. I gave him roughly 25 laps led, which I thought was fair. That might even be a bit much, depending. We'll see how much he can take advantage of clean air at the beginning. But I have him fading back to around 10th, 11th place, so it's going to kind of wash out those early Dominator points. I do believe Blaney and William Byron should have the cars to at least make it a race somewhat early on, once we start seeing these lap times fall off quite a bit. So I'm not really too excited about playing Alex Bowman, honestly. I have him projected ownership around roughly around 14, 15%, optimal right around there. I think he's a better DraftKings play than FanDuel because if he leads 20 laps on FanDuel, who cares? That's nothing. Absolutely nothing. But on DraftKings, if he can get 20 laps led, 8 fast laps, if he can hang around, it could be worse. But it's definitely a tougher path for Alex Bowman today. So I'm fairly low on him. Hit the like is only polite. Hey, that rhymes. Sounds pretty good. Elliott and Ty Dillon or Priest and Gibbs? You know what? That's a good thing for my I have a group projection tool here, so let's let me test that out here because I'm actually curious which one projects better. Although I can't find it anymore. Okay, Elliott and Ty Dillon. Projects for 63.4. And then we have Ty Gibbs and Ryan Priest. Okay, so the second one, Gibbs and Priest actually projects better by 2.4. So very close. Appreciate the dono, right? So there's Chastain or Priest straight up. Thanks, Chris. Thank you for the dono. Ross Chastain projects a little bit better for me. He was horrible in practice, but he still projects better. But that's a big price discrepancy, though. Very big. What's up, Santana? Hope you're having a fantastic afternoon. I don't believe there's any guys to the rear. I'll be honest, Bob has gone full IndyCar on us this weekend, so we're just fending for ourselves on any pre-race news. Unfortunately, let me see if he... It sucks. Bob's cheating on us. He's our best source of NASCAR information on race day, and he's gone full IndyCar on us. All right, I don't see anything to the rear. Got to scroll through all this IndyCar spam. No, okay, I don't see anybody to the rear, but the only thing I would care about is like a driver up front. Like if Byron and Blaney went to the rear, I'd be kind of concerned. But other than that, nothing else really would bother me too much. Yeah, I think Suarez is fine. I have him projected for around 37, which isn't too bad. What's up, Mass? Y'all in here talking about the race in Discord? Just me and Hunter freaking out about the Florida game. I'll be there soon, Mass. I'm going to have to hop out here so I can build. Is it okay if I finish my lineup in the 7Ks, or do you need to dip down in the 6Ks? As long as you have multiple guys that can lead laps and win the race in your lineup, that's okay. Although it's kind of hard to do I think it's kind of hard to do given the price points, but as long as you have that criteria met. Yeah, no problem at all, Josh. Ross says, yeah, Antonio is going to play mostly B-name drivers and bingo. All but one of the... Yeah, the Killer Bees have been on fire this year. They really have. I don't have a ton of Justin Haley. I mean, I know the speed was great, but just projection-wise, he's not popping in too much. He might be one of those guys where you just need to bump up his projection manually a little bit. I like Twin Hendricks today. Yeah, I mean, Hendricks should be good. I believe Suarez and Gilly projects better there. I believe so. I would go with Eric Jones and DraftKings tourneys over Zane Smith. And I'd love to tell you how many wrecks there would be today, but I would just be lying if I gave you an answer. So I can't. In a perfect world, I would say 0, so we don't have any issues. But you know, the past couple races I've been to, it hasn't been too nuts. Any Suarez or Priest on FanDuel? Let me see how much they're popping. I'm about to build over there. I mean, I'm not going to play them in single entry. But optimal wise, yeah, Priest is showing up on FanDuel still. And then who was the other driver? Suarez? Yeah, they're showing up. They're showing up on FanDuel. I think they are playable over there. Yeah, Fox has definitely been pushing IndyCar this year, which obviously I'm not a fan of. I don't like IndyCar. Good luck, Sean. I hope you do. Hamlin and Chastain and Reddick and Priest. Last question, I promise. I'll go Hamlin and Chastain there. McDowell's just gonna be one of those filler guys in. I am not specifically getting to Michael McDowell. He projects okay enough to where he'll probably filter in a few, but I have absolutely no real stance on Michael McDowell outside of, hey, he's a filler. Sean says, good morning. Play Blaney today? I will definitely have my fair share of Blaney, Sean. Definitely will. Yeah, the starting position is really tough on Justin Haley. That's the only issue. I'll go with Austin Dillon over Haley personally. No problem at all. You rely. Thoughts on Gragson? Gragson has a good car. I wish he was starting further back. It's just so hard to click on his name for where he's starting. It really is. Car's going to be good, though. I mean, I think he can hang around like top 8 for the majority of the day, but there's going to be some really good cars that have to push their way through. Austin says, feel like Reddick and Larson project similar. Should I take Reddick as a pivot off of Larson ownership? I mean, I do have Larson a peg above Tyler Reddick. I kind of have Larson almost in his own tier. Not like it's insanely different. But Reddick should be lower owned than Kyle Larson, but I do have Larson projecting better. I do think Larson has the best car today. But I mean, I'm not going to talk you off going Reddick over Larson. I think they're both pretty close. Hunter says I'm sweating Florida. Tilt potentially. Oh boy, nothing like building while you're tilting. I'll go with Ty Gibbs over Hocevar. Very close though, but I'll go with Ty Gibbs. Dinger or McDowell. I have McDowell projecting a little bit better. Pretty sure. Yeah, I have McDowell a little bit better than that. What was Ryan Priest's practice laps? I'll probably only be able to answer a couple more questions, and then I got to get out of here so I can build myself. I don't want to miss lock. But Ryan Priest's lap times, consecutive lap averages weren't crazy or anything, and neither were the overall laps. I think he'll improve upon this throughout the race. Like, practice is never going to be the end all be all. I don't think Christopher Bell's going to be this bad during the race. But I mean, we'll probably see Priest probably be like a borderline top 20 car. I think that's a safe place to probably put him. Oops. Yeah, no problem at all, CJ. I think I forgot to say aloha to you earlier. I'm not sure if your other half was in here as well, but hello to both of you. If I missed you, I do apologize. And no problem at all, Margie. Thank you for being here. Best driver 6,700 on under 6,700. I believe I have Austin Dillon projecting the best of that group. Top 30. He's just messing around. Don't take spread at face value all the time. Reddick or Wallace and Buescher or Logano. I'll go with Reddick and Wallace there. Too much faster cars, at least in practice. Suarez or Hocevar. Suarez projects better in general. Appreciate you, Marquise. I don't mind answering your questions though. I can build fast. I'm just worried about the hand builds. I'll let the optimizer take over the rest. I'll need a few minutes for that. Austin Dillon or Jones. I will take I'll take Austin Dillon. No problem at all. Stampede. Next week we have Martinsville. It'll be boring, but it's always fun to talk about for DFS purposes. I ended up with a lot of Chastain. I'm personally not as high on Chastain as you are. I am a little worried about the practice speeds. Obviously, he has good PD upside, but not personally as high on Ross. But the other three I can get behind. I will have a lot of Larson and Hamlin today. I'll take Jones over Smith. I'll just take the extra PD. I think that looks good, Mad Dog. Obviously, Ty Dillon's just a pure punt, but I love the top three. And if you can nail your top three DOMs like that, it's not going to matter too much what the others do as long as they don't wreck out. Nemechek, I can't. If Nemechek burns me today, I'll eat it, but I can't do it. I'm going Gillen personally, Logan. And then also Jones over Smith if I didn't already answer that. All right. I'd love to keep talking, but lock's a little bit earlier this week. So hopefully I'll see you all back for next weekend. We also have baseball starting on Thursday. And if you guys like baseball, I don't post videos for it, but I do spreadsheets similar to what I do for NASCAR every single day for baseball. So looking forward to that. I love baseball. But hopefully we have a great race today. Hopefully Larson doesn't wreck into the barrels once again. And I wish you all the best. And thank you for hanging out with me. And I hope your March Madness brackets are doing better